Hey, so I wanted to talk about my time on Kill Tony. I'm on episode 503. So I haven't done this yet, but I think I'm going to start vlogging. So I just started doing comedy a year ago. And bitches on YouTube are always vlogging about dumb shit anyways. Like, they're like, oh my god, one time I had to fly Spirit Airlines. So, like, fuck it. This is probably a little bit more interesting. So I also wanted to give people something to find me on. I'm going to start my YouTube channel so I can have multiple playlists because I have a lot of different stuff going on right now, besides having a fucking broken nail. Right now, I'm working on a couple projects. I have a podcast that I'm starting. It's called Gina Got Friends. It's more about highlighting different people that are also chasing their passions. It's taken me a long time to get to comedy. Like I talk about on Kill Tony, I was in med school. I was doing pre-med. I wanted to do genetic counseling. I ended up working in spinal cord procedures in med device. I was the senior clinical specialist for a med device company, so that meant that I was the consultant on where to place things in people's spines, working with neurosurgeons, and being the liaison between like a managing physician and the surgeon and telling them like where to place it, which felt like huge imposter syndrome. It actually isn't scary to me to bomb or do comedy. It feels much more genuine. So that's where the whole medical thing was coming from. That's what I did in Austin, Texas. I did get fired right before COVID, so that was good timing on that pandemic for me. I did work on a site. I worked on Chatterbait, and that's actually how I got into comedy. I have a couple of interviews about this because it was pretty wild. My friends were worried about me, but in reality, I honestly was just kind of bored. I like performing. I don't know, like, don't kink shame people. This hoodie makes my shoulders look huge. Anyway, so I want to talk about being on Kill Tony because I figured for like Kill Tony fans, it might be fun to hear what it's like to actually do it. I started comedy about a year ago. I go back to Texas every year because I love it there. I got booted from there. I lived there alone. I started comedy. I love the scene. I love a lot of the comedians there. It's a good community, small community, tight community. And because I lost my job and I couldn't find another one in Texas, the only job offer I had was in New York. So I'm single. I pay my own bills. I don't have like a husband or anything, or like I don't come from a family with money. So I had to end up going back to New York. It was the only full-time job offer I had. I'm hoping to do full-time comedy within 2 years. And so, yeah, I got booted back to New York, come back to Austin so I can stay in the scene. I'm a very big fan of Rogan. I'm a very big fan of, Hinchcliffe, all those guys, everybody that's moving there. So it kind of felt like a huge kick in the face to get kicked out of a city that I moved to randomly, alone, not knowing anyone, and kind of really met myself there. I really loved that scene. I loved going somewhere not knowing anyone, and I left Austin, Texas. They actually held a show for me called Hyena Fest, and I could have cried my fucking eyes out that night, because showing up in a city not knowing anyone and leaving and starting a hobby that makes you feel like yourself and seeing a bunch of supportive people that literally made a poster that said Hyena Fest, like, it meant the world to me. So I'm back every month. I do shows there. I decided to do Kill Tony, and I had a lot of people, especially in the comedy community, be like, I don't see the point of it. Like, you're going to get roasted. Everybody bombs, and it's just embarrassing. And honestly, for me, I'm 34. I've been through a lot of shit. I think I mentioned very briefly on Kill Tony that I've dated people that have hit me. Like, I've had 3 concussions, and I've never played football, so bombing isn't scary to me, especially when it's something that I really, really care about. For me, it's, you're going to grow. I'm going to bomb. Like, and if I didn't, I would just think people weren't paying attention. So I was like, fuck it. It's exposure. It seems like fun. Fan of Tony Hinchcliffe. I thought it would just be a really fun, cool thing to do. I'm definitely going to learn from it. I did meet some other comedians on my last trip to Austin. Right before I did Kill Tony, I met Jason Rouse at Jason Rouse 666. He's Canadian comic. He was big in LA. He also moved there. We did a show together the Friday before. And he was really supportive of me doing it. He was like, hell yeah, what do you got to lose, lady? And, like, I had a few people that were like, yeah, fuck it. Like, friends that aren't comedians. They were like, go on, do it. And, it was very strange. So I saw one of my best friends I stayed with in Texas the night before, and she knows, how much this means to me. We always say I'm a little dicky, and she was like, sorry, I'm like really like airing this out, but it means a lot to me. Like I said, this is a female fucking vlogging, so this is what you get, I guess. So my friend was like, bitch, you're going to perform in front of Joe Rogan by the end of the year. Like, we put it out in the universe because that's what bitches do. We say we manifest shit, right? So I was like, yeah, that's the goal. I want Joe Rogan to see me perform. I had met him in the On It gym 2 years prior. I wasn't doing comedy yet, but I was a big fan of the podcast. I am a big fan of, like, meditation. Like, I tried jujitsu. It wasn't cute. It wasn't cute at all. But anyways, so I'm also a third generation Italian. I like the idea of being interested in other people's experiences. Whatever. So the day of Kill Tony, my friend drops me off. The way it works in Austin is there's a sign-up list at 6:30. And, a bunch of people can put their names down. I actually put down another one of my friends, Dean Stanfield, put his name down for him. Went over next door to the Russian house. And they have all different kinds of vodka. Me and my best friend sat there with some of the other comedians, some of the other comics that I started with. And there was about 70 names pulled up. So the show starts at 8. You don't sit with the audience. So for somebody starting out, it really does feel like, there's so many parts in comedy that feel very degrading, and you're putting yourself out there a lot, and you're like, yeah, I know I'm not famous yet, and I know I'm not good at this yet. And having something like, oh, you sign up at 6:30, the show starts at 8, and then you don't get to sit with, like, Gen Pop, like, you're away, you're like fucking Cinderella, not invited to the fucking ball. And then it's a raffle. Like, if you're a fan of it, you've seen they pull names, and for me, I knew what minute I was going to do. And when they call you up, you get 1 minute to perform. And then they interview you and they roast you. And again, like, I grew up in Massachusetts. We grew up talking shit. That's like how people communicate there. So I had no issue with that. I have no issue with people roasting me. I like talking shit. My thing was like, this means a lot to me. So I knew what minute I was going to do. And they make a little cat sound at 1 minute. And then if you keep going, you're going too long, they make a bear sound. And I had practiced my minute over and over. Lately, it was the joke that was getting the most laughs. So I was like, this is obviously what I'm going to do. But every time I timed it, it was 1 minute and 9 seconds. And I was like, I just have to go for it and hope they don't cut the mic. And the end of it is like the hardest hitting punchline. So it's a joke about fucking a magician. And the hardest hitting punchline is the very last one. It's the shortest time to get to, but it still takes 1 minute and 9 seconds. And I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it anyways. It's just scary. I hope they don't cut off my mic, or else it's just going to look like I'm just talking about fucking a magician. So I went there, waited until 8. My friend left. I went upstairs. So we have like a little upstairs viewing room now. It used to be you waited outside, which I was prepared to do, but your nerves are fucking crazy this whole time, right? And me, before any show, I'm just running through my set in my head. I don't even hear people talking to me. I usually keep my AirPods in, and I either listen to drag queen music. I'm a big fan of Alaska Thunderfuck, and I try to get in the mood, or I listen to my set over and over if it's a long set. And then it just makes me look like a bitch. I already have a bitchy looking face, but I literally can't hear when somebody's talking to me. And this is so amplified when you're going there, because you're like, I don't even know if I'm going up. So if you watch the Kill Tony, I'm on episode 503, but I'm not until 1 hour and 38 minutes. And it's a 2-hour long show. At this point, 1 hour in, my friend Jason had come up, and I'm like, I'm not being charismatic. I'm just super nervous. I'm pacing. I can see that there's a couple other women waiting, because the only thing I had working for me at this point was there's not been a woman called up yet on the show. So I know at some point he's going to draw until he gets a woman up there. And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, there's a few of us. I know a couple of these girls have already been on. I don't know one of them. I'm just like, I'm supportive to a point, but I want to fucking get on. And then, in my head too, I'm like, fuck, what if this whole time I don't even get on? I was flying out to New York the next day at 8 a.m. And I had asked my friends not to book me on any shows Monday night because I wanted to do this. So I was like, what if I just wasted a fucking night of stage time? And my friend Jason's like, I guarantee you're going to be next. And I was like, I don't fucking know. And so he's like, they're looking for a woman. I guarantee you they're going to call your name. Like, we just had this weird frou-frou weekend of weird things being good and shit like that. It was a really good week. And they call my name. So I get up. My heart is like out of my chest. I know my minute. I know this joke inside and out because I've only been doing it at this point for about 6 weeks. But it hits really hard at the end. So I do the joke about the magician. I was dating a magician at the time. His name's Magic Mark. That's true. His name is Mark, but his Instagram is Magic Mark. He's hot, whatever. So I tell the joke about Magic Mark. It goes well. Tony was very complimentary. I mean, he obviously roasted me. And, but the fact that he noticed that I took the time to write that joke, the way I wrote it was actually, I'm a really big nerd. So I like to take things apart. I have my period and I'm just not washing my hair. So I'm just fucking whatever. I'm not trying to fuck today anyways. So you're all probably comedy fans. So it doesn't matter. The way I wrote that joke, I'm a nerd. There's people on YouTube that write essays. And the movie Parasite, I swear to God, this all relates to me fucking a magician, won all these Oscars. They talked about the director. I love that movie. I watched it 3 times. Because they talk about the director's timing. And that's something that I'm working on with my comedy. And there's an essay by Nerdwriter1, and he talks about the montage in Parasite. And it's a perfectly timed montage. I'm trying to keep this under 20 minutes, by the way. Fucking timing. But the way the montage goes is they're trying to get this whole family in to working into the house. But he needs to keep your attention. So the longest part of the montage is it's telling the story so you understand how they're getting people into the house, why it's important. They get the daughter in, and then she works, and the montage gets shorter when it's going to each story. So it goes to the son, then it goes to the dad, and then it goes to the mom. And when it goes to the son, the storyline gets a little bit shorter. When it goes to the dad, it gets a little bit shorter that time, and then it goes to the mom. And you understand now they're all in the house, and it took a shorter amount of time, and you got that building block from the first part of the montage. So when I was writing this joke about a magician, the long form of it is I matched with a magician. He said he only wanted something casual, and I was like, yeah, bro, I got that from magician. Like, what'd you think? Like, I matched with you, and I told all my friends and family about you. So that's a long form to get to a punchline. The shorter form is, he told me that he didn't want to lead me down a deceptive path, and I was like, isn't that your fucking job? So it's a shorter time to get to a punchline. And it's still going to blow him, though, because he's got face tattoos and I'm stupid. Short time to get to a joke. And then it's, I can't wait because he's going to finish and I'm going to be like, did you finish? And he's going to be like, check behind your ear. So the way I wrote that joke is it takes a long time to hit a punchline and then decreases to get to a punchline at the end. I just get nerdy. Like I said, I went to med school. I like to take things apart and try to see how it worked and then put my experience towards it. So that's how I wrote that joke. I think that's why it works. I don't want to write another joke exactly with that timing, but I do like to look at other comics and the way that they time things. And, like Louis is more long form, Norm Macdonald's a very long form, then it's a throw. And I've tried to write other jokes, just, it's good practice for me to be like, well, here's my experience, but like say like something like, I don't fucking know, like getting my body done and getting my tits done. writing that in a Norm Macdonald kind of way. It would be very long form, and then it would be a weird throw at the end. So anyways, they're very complimentary. Redban asked me to be on a show on Wednesday. I was supposed to fly out that next morning, Tuesday morning. And of course, I was like, hell yes. Like, absolutely, I'm going to do this. Changed, called out of work in New York. Changed my flights. I was so excited. I hate that I've said so many times, so I apologize. And it was very validating. I've had, my mom wrote me a letter about how she wasn't really into how I was expressing myself lately. Handwritten letter I got in the mail. I have had friends, tell me not to go and kill Tony. I've been on comedy shows where I'm one of the only comics not getting paid. Been told a lot what I should be doing. So to go on a show and to have people that I respect compliment me and then offer me a gig meant the world to me. And that's part of the reason I want to vlog this. I want to vlog different parts of, this journey of becoming a professional comedian. And so let's cut to the show. I recorded a podcast with my friend Jason. So if you look at it's Jason Rouse's Safe Word is the name of it. It's Spotify, every fucking thing. I don't know how to use Spotify, so we'll say that. His Instagram is at Jason Rouse, ROUSE666. Really cool person. Really glad we recorded that podcast because we caught this little wave of, it was going well for me. He seems like a very scary, dark person. He's a Satanist. I find most Satanists not to actually be scary at all. If you actually read the tenets of Satanism, they're very much about respecting other people and respecting life. So he's a great person. You had a really good conversation. I'm glad I got to get I call them the zoomies, when you see a dog fucking running around. That's how my brain feels, especially before the show, because I get the set list. It was a secret show. They give me the set list. Fucking Hinchcliffe's performing, Redban's performing, and fucking Joe Rogan's performing. So I had texted my friend earlier that day, and I was like, holy fuck. She was going into her room to take a nap. Redban had just DM'd me the set list, and I sent it to her, and I was like, you can't show anybody. And she walked out of her bedroom, she's like, bitch. And I was like, bitch, I can't feel my legs. So I'm like, what if I fucking bomb in front of Joe Rogan? What if I fucking bomb in front of Joe Rogan? That would be the worst. And I'm not telling my friends who's on the show. A lot of people that I have knew I was staying in town. So I had friends come out. One of my friends had their daughter that night, so he couldn't come out. But one of my best friends that was very supportive of this whole thing. So I go to the show. My friend Max is also a stand-up comedian who's had a lot of, he's had tragedy and stuff like that. So it also, we both understand how good it is to be grateful of good times in your life. And so that's a common bond that we have. When I exited the theater of Antone's, he was outside and gave me the biggest hug, and his eyes were welled up. And I really I DM'd him and I was like, I need to hug you before I perform tonight. And so that meant a lot to me. Outside of 6th Street, Vulcan Gas Company is the place that we did it at. It used to be a big music venue. It's on Dirty 6th Street, which is kind of the Bourbon Street in Austin. And now it's doing a lot of great comedy shows. So I go to the green room. There's a couple other people that Redban had asked to perform. And, the Redban was in there. Hinchcliffe wasn't there yet. Rogan wasn't there yet. Security guy comes in. I'm second up. I'm after Michael Leher. It was a tag team show, so it was really cool. Michael Leher handed a microphone to me. I was like, this is amazing. I think I had the biggest, ridiculous smile on my face the whole night. And I left my jacket. This really cool metal bitch jacket. I left it in the green room. And I go back upstairs, and the door is cracked, and they had told us before. They were like, listen, when Rogan gets here, he gets the green room, which I'm like, I know where I stand, but, I don't need to be reminded. So the door is cracked, and I can see Joe Rogan's in there. And he's like, hey, let her in, whatever. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to grab my shit and go. And he goes, "You're really funny." And I was like, and what? And he said, "I watched your set." So I got really, this whole entire week, it was the week of 405 in Austin, Texas. I got very lucky. Joe Rogan was very genuine. He was very nice to me. And apparently he had come in when I was on stage, so he watched my set. And he was like, "You got big laughs." Again, I'm always never gonna downplay how lucky you are to get a good audience. And the people that like Joe Rogan's shit tend to like my shit because I like to point out a lot of strange behavior people have. And that's, also something that Joe Rogan does. So his fans are gonna like kind of bleed over, I would hope. So he's like, "I watch your set." Very complimentary to me. And then this guy just bullshitted with me for like 2 hours. It was fucking great. Hinchcliffe came in. He was like, "Oh shit, Gina Hyena's in here." And all I can say is like they were so fucking nice to me. They were not creepy at all. Like, I'm not saying like they were nice to me and I'm a girl and they called me pretty. Like, they talked to me as if I was a peer, as if I had been doing comedy for a long time, and also as if I belonged in the room, which to me it didn't feel like I did yet. And I still can't wrap my head around that this was something that I was lucky enough to do. So all I can say is the whole experience is great. If you're thinking about doing it or if you're a fan, I just wanted to compound the fact that they're amazing people. They're amazing people. I thank them a million times for providing this opportunity. I think the Kill Tony show is a great opportunity for comics. And, like, look what they're doing. They're shining a light on people that would not get this much exposure at this point in their career. So that's a part of the reason I wanted to do it. And I'm just very grateful to the show and to Big Laugh Company, to Vulcan, to Rogan, to Redban for asking me, for Tony for doing Kill Tony. Like, it was amazing. So thank you guys so much. I just wanted to give you, like, a little, like, behind the scenes follow-up. Something else to go with. I will be starting to promote my podcast. It's called Gina Got Friends. It's going to probably premiere in like 3 weeks because I want to make sure I have a couple episodes up so it's not just like very sporadic. You can follow me on IG. I also have GinaHyenaComedy.com. That's going to show you where all my shows are. I'll be starting to post more videos and vlogging different moments throughout this journey or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I hate saying that. It's such an Instagram bitch thing to say. But thank you guys so much. Thank you for laughing, for noticing me, for following. Any little like or even saying you're funny, even at the end of a show, helps us sleep at night. Or I can at least say for me, it gives me the validation that I'm doing the right thing, which is what I love to do, which I will never stop doing. So it took me a long time to get here, and I'm glad that I'm here. Even though it took a lot of headaches and bumps in the road, I'm grateful for those too. So thank you. I don't know, like me or something. Y'all have a good night.